In the heart of feudal Japan, beneath the shadow of Mount Fuji's snow-capped peak, there lived a young samurai named Yuki. His heart burned with a singular dream, to become the greatest warrior in the land, a name whispered with reverence across the provinces. In the quiet of his clan's modest dojo, surrounded by rice paper walls and the scent of cedar, Yuki would lose himself in visions of glory. He imagined himself clad in lacquered armor, wielding a katana that gleamed like moonlight, leading his clan to victory in battles that would echo through history. He devoured scrolls recounting the triumphs of legendary swordsmen, their blades carving paths through chaos. Yuki's ambition was a fire that consumed his thoughts. He spoke endlessly of mastering the spear, the bow, the art of strategy, and earning undying honor for his clan. To him, the weight of his dreams felt like destiny itself, a promise that his greatness was inevitable. Yet, as the cherry blossoms fell and seasons turned, a shadow crept over Yuki's aspirations. When the dawn broke and his sensei called the young warriors to train, Yuki found reasons to linger. The air was too cold, he told himself, the ground too slick with morning dew. Some days, he claimed a lingering ache in his shoulder, or that he needed more time to study tactics before stepping onto the practice field. He would sit cross-legged, sketching battle formations in the dirt, convincing himself that planning was progress. "Tomorrow," he whispered, "tomorrow I will begin in earnest." But tomorrow became next week, and next week stretched into years. The dojo echoed with the clashing of wooden swords and the shouts of disciplined students, while Yuki remained on the sidelines, his dreams growing ever grander, yet his skills untouched by the grind of practice. In the villages of feudal Japan, samurai were not merely warriors but symbols of discipline, their lives governed by bushido, the way of the warrior. Training was relentless, hours of perfecting a single sword stroke, running through mountain paths to build endurance, meditating under freezing waterfalls to temper the mind. These rituals were not optional but sacred, woven into the fabric of a samurai's existence. Yuki, however, saw himself as different. His ambition, he believed, set him apart. Why toil through repetitive drills when his mind already danced with visions of victory? He spoke so vividly of his future that his words felt like achievements. Friends listened, wide-eyed, as he described leading armies or dueling under starlit skies. Yet, as time passed, those same friends, younger, less gifted in imagination but steadfast in effort, began to surpass him. A boy who once struggled to hold a bokken now moved with precision, his strikes swift and sure. A girl who trained at dawn while Yuki slept now wielded a naginata with grace that drew the sensei's praise. Yuki's heart grew heavy with a truth he could no longer ignore. His dreams, once a source of pride, had become a weight. They had not lifted him toward greatness but anchored him in stagnation. Each unacted day widened the chasm between who he was and who he longed to be. The more he spoke of his plans, the more his mind rewarded him with fleeting bursts of satisfaction, as if talking were the same as doing. This was the trap of ambition without action, a seductive illusion that lulls the dreamer into believing progress is near, while time slips away like sand through open hands. In feudal Japan, time was a samurai's most precious resource. A warrior's life could end in a single clash of blades, and every moment of preparation was a step toward survival. Yuki's inaction was not just a failure of skill but a betrayal of his own potential. This truth is not unique to Yuki or the samurai. Across centuries and cultures, humans have fallen into the same trap. The ancient Greeks told of Icarus, who dreamed of flying but soared too close to the sun, his ambition unchecked by caution. In Yuki's world, the samurai understood that dreams, no matter how vivid, are hollow without the discipline to act. The larger the goal, the easier it is to feel overwhelmed by its distance, to delay the small steps that bridge the gap. Yuki's story reveals a painful lesson. Ambition alone is not a spark, but a shadow. It can inspire, but it can also deceive, whispering that preparation is progress, that tomorrow will always come. For Yuki, the realization came too late. His dreams had not made him stronger. They had left him unprepared, frustrated, and full of regret, watching others climb the mountain he only gazed upon. Centuries ago, amid the turbulent winds of Japan's Warring States period, the legendary swordsman Miyamoto Musashi grasped this profound truth. Born into a world of constant conflict, Musashi was no stranger to the fragility of life. As a young Ronin, he wandered the countryside, surviving over 60 duels without a single defeat, including his famous confrontation on Ganryu Island, where he felled the renowned Sasaki Kojiro with a wooden oar carved from a boat's oar, a testament to his ingenuity born from relentless practice. Unlike those who chase transformation in fleeting moments of inspiration, Musashi devoted himself to small, steady actions performed every day. He rose before dawn, swinging his sword 1,000 times until his muscles screamed, then meditated in solitude to sharpen his mind. He knew that greatness was not forged in sudden bursts of energy, but through the quiet rhythm of repetition, like the steady drip of water carving stone over time. The samurai, though immortalized in tales of dramatic battles where blades flashed under crimson skies and war cries pierced the air, became strong through the humble discipline of daily practice. Their training grounds were not glamorous arenas, but simple clearings in forests or castle courtyards where they repeated kata-precise forms until perfection became instinct. They polished their armor not for show but as a ritual of mindfulness, each stroke a reminder of their commitment. They trained not when they felt ready, but because training was their way of life, an unbreakable vow under the code of Bushido that demanded unwavering resolve. In the misty mornings of Edo period dojos, masters would gather apprentices, teaching them that the body and spirit must be honed like a blade on a whetstone day after day, regardless of fatigue or doubt. To wait for motivation before beginning is like waiting for perfect weather before starting a journey across the rugged peaks of the Japanese Alps. You may wait forever, watching clouds gather and storms pass, while others who are willing to walk even in the relentless rain, mud clinging to their sandals, wind whipping their cloaks, reach their destination ahead of you. Those hardy travelers, much like the samurai messengers who braved monsoons to deliver vital scrolls, understood that progress demands persistence through adversity. The truth is that motivation is not the spark that creates action. More often, it is the flame that follows it, ignited by the friction of effort. Action brings momentum, and momentum gives rise to the energy we mistake for inspiration, building like a snowball rolling down a hillside, gathering size and speed from humble beginnings. Those who achieve the most are not the ones who feel inspired every day, basking in the glow of effortless zeal, but the ones who act, even when they do not feel like it, pushing through the fog of lethargy with sheer will. In Musashi's own words from his masterpiece, The Book of Five Rings, he emphasized strategy born from daily discipline, advising warriors to treat practice as combat and combat as practice. The samurai captured this principle in the teaching of Kaizen no Mi, the way of small improvements, a philosophy echoing through Japanese culture even today in pursuits from martial arts to craftsmanship. The mountain is climbed one step at a time, they said, not by staring at its imposing peak and wishing to be there, lost in daydreams while the path remains untrodden. Even if the steps seem small, a single breath in meditation, a lone arrow loosed at a target, they lead to strength because they are repeated, compounding like interest in a hidden treasury. Even if the progress seems slow, it builds into mastery because it does not stop, much like the ancient bonsai trees shaped over generations through patient pruning. Imagine a samurai student, perhaps a contemporary of Yuki's, who feels too lazy to train, his body heavy with the weight of a restless night. Yet, he chooses to practice a single sword form each morning, drawing his blade in the dim light of dawn, the dew-kissed grass underfoot. His friends laugh at the tiny effort and tell him it is useless, mocking him as they lounge by the river, sharing sake and stories. But he continues, undeterred, his movements initially clumsy but growing fluid with each repetition. Over time, the movement becomes automatic, etched into his muscles like calligraphy on parchment. His body grows stronger, sinews hardening like tempered steel, his technique sharper, strikes landing with precision that once eluded him, his discipline deeper, a wellspring of inner fortitude that shields him from distraction. This resilience is no accident. Psychologically, small actions rewire the mind, forming neural pathways that make future efforts easier, turning resistance into routine. In feudal Japan, samurai drew from Zen Buddhism, where monks practiced zazen meditation daily, not for enlightenment in a flash, but through accumulated stillness. Months later, our steadfast student realizes he has built a foundation that allows him to learn advanced skills with ease, mastering the dual-wield style of Nitin Ichiru, Musashi's own school, while his friends who waited for motivation remain at the beginning, their potential withered like unpicked fruit. In this way, the smallest step can carry greater power than the grandest plan, for it is action that bridges the void, not aspiration alone. Musashi himself lived this, wandering as a musha shugyo, a warrior's pilgrimage, honing his skills through countless small challenges, from sketching landscapes to debating philosophy, all feeding his unparalleled mastery. The lesson is clear. Preparation without practice is simply disguised procrastination. Talking without doing creates the illusion of progress while leaving us unchanged. Waiting for motivation is nothing more than handing control of our future to our emotions, surrendering to whims that ebb and flow like the tides of the Seto Inland Sea. The samurai knew that strength lies not in feeling ready, but in acting despite resistance, a principle that echoes through time and finds parallels in other ancient philosophies. Consider the Stoics of ancient Rome, like Marcus Aurelius, who in his meditations urged himself to rise each morning and perform his duties without complaint, regardless of inner turmoil. Much like a samurai facing the dawn patrol, blade in hand, undeterred by weariness. Yagyu Munenori, one of the great samurai teachers and head of the Yagyu Shinkaje-ryu school, who served as instructor to the Tokugawa shoguns, once said, "The sword that waits for perfect conditions never leaves its sheath. If you wait for the right moment, you may wait forever." His words, drawn from a lifetime of duels and courtly intrigue in the early Edo period, cut to the core of human hesitation. Munenori's teachings, compiled in The Life-Giving Sword, blended Zen insights with martial strategy, emphasizing mushi no mind, a state of flow achieved not through waiting but through immersion in action. Our need for motivation often comes from fear. We fear the discomfort of starting when we feel tired, the resistance of continuing when we lack energy, or the possibility that our efforts will not feel rewarding right away. In today's world, this manifests in the office worker staring at a blank screen, dreading the first keystroke on a daunting report, or the aspiring artist postponing the sketch because inspiration feels absent, much like a samurai apprentice avoiding the dojo on a rainy day. Yet, discipline is not about avoiding these feelings. It is about moving through them, forging ahead like a warrior crossing a battlefield shrouded in fog, trusting in training over transient emotions. True strength is not the ability to act when conditions are perfect, sunny skies, rested body, eager mind, but the ability to act when conditions are not, when doubt whispers and excuses beckon. Think of a modern athlete, training for the Olympics not only on high-energy days, but through injuries and setbacks, mirroring the samurai who practiced archery in blizzards to build unyielding focus. Or the entrepreneur launching a venture amid economic uncertainty, embodying the same resolve as a Ronin seeking patronage in feudal times. These examples show that the samurai way transcends eras, offering a blueprint for self-mastery in our fast-paced lives. The samurai way to break laziness is therefore simple but profound. Begin with small daily actions, no matter how insignificant they may seem. Start with 5 minutes of meditation to center the mind, akin to the samurai's brief zazen before training, or a single page of reading to build knowledge, like poring over strategy scrolls by lantern light. Do not wait to feel ready, for readiness is an illusion crafted by the mind to delay discomfort. Do not place your trust in emotion, for feelings are fleeting, as changeable as the autumn leaves in Kyoto's temples. Instead, place your trust in habits and commitments, for they build the foundation of all achievement, layer by layer, like the meticulous construction of a katana folded steel hammered thousands of times into unbreakable form. As the warriors once said, "I am not controlled by my feelings, I am guided by my commitments." This echoes the Stoic dictum of Epictetus, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Strength does not mean saying, "I feel like doing this." Strength means saying, "I will do this whether I feel like it or not," a mantra that could transform a student's study routine or a professional's fitness regimen. To apply this today, identify one small action tied to your goal, perhaps a daily walk to clear the mind, or journaling reflections like a samurai recording lessons from sparring. Commit to it without negotiation, tracking progress not by grand leaps, but by consistent ticks on a calendar, building momentum that snowballs into transformation. The power to act without waiting for motivation is the power to shape your life, to carve your path like a master swordsmith shaping destiny from raw ore. In an age of distractions, endless scrolls on screens mirroring ancient temptations, Yuki's regret serves as a warning, while Musashi and Munenori's wisdom lights the way. Embrace the samurai spirit. Let your actions define you, not your aspirations. Rise each day with purpose. Move through resistance and watch as small steps lead to profound mastery. The journey begins not with a surge of inspiration, but with a single, deliberate step. Thank you for watching, and remember, the sheath may hold the sword, but it is the hand that draws it forth.